I'll be asking you questions.
Recording in progress.
Okay. How were you different people when you crossed that border into the United States?
Different from when?
Well, did you feel differently about life? Did you feel differently about the United States? When you came back in the country, I'm assuming in some ways you changed. How could you go through an experience that was as rattling as that one, uh, where you had, to be fair, a very, very difficult task in your hands, and it worked really, really well, and you lived in other countries. I just got a picture that you came back in a little different than you went in.
Of course. Very different. First, we were certainly more aware of international health issues. We were aware of the impact of poverty on health. We were more appreciative of how governments that were poor and or disorganized couldn't really meet their population's needs. We came back into the US, and I think we felt good about being home, of course, but we came back wiser than when we left. We were older, we were more experienced. I don't know.
Did it ever feel like home? I mean, when you were over there, was there ever a time that it felt like home?
Not really. We were comfortable with living in La Paz. We were comfortable that we had done good work, and we felt as if we were good travelers, but we were not at home. We knew we were in another country at all times. And when we arrived in the United States, it was pretty miraculous because we had traveled this road for many hours, many days, and finally arrived in the United States. So yeah, it was very different, and we were very happy to be back in the United States.
Did you look at simple things like social interaction at the party and experience them maybe differently than how you would have before you had this experience? I mean, here you are, you have this tremendous overseas challenge. You come back home, now you got all your family members around. It had to be almost mind-blowing. I mean, on some level, it had to be a real seminal, strong experience for you.
Well, I remember very clearly thinking how our experience was similar to what we were told would be the experience of returning volunteers. You might remember we talked about the emotional curve of volunteers. How they were really up at the beginning, tended to get a little depressed during, and then were very up at the end, very up when they got home, but it didn't take long for that high to dissipate because they came home having had this incredible experience, full of stories, full changed people, no question. But the people they came home to knew them as they were before they left, couldn't really appreciate what they had been through. And after the first few basic questions, how are you and what was it like? There were no questions about what we did overseas. There were no real questions about what went on in the Peace Corps. Your parents didn't push us. My parents didn't push us. My cousins didn't push us. My sister had a sense because she had been there, but she didn't push us.
However, my mother contacted the newspaper in Bethlehem, and so they wrote an article about us taking this long journey.
Okay, hold
Oh,
on
wow.
just 1 second here. I'm
Recording
going to
stopped.
reload.